I tapped out, I think it's something like 250.4 miles an hour. And James went out slightly later, I would say maybe under cooler conditions with some cloud cover, better atmospherics for the engine, and beat me by sort of zero point 0.2 miles an hour, which he instantly was dining out on, telling everybody that he beat the Stig. So the Veyron is just, it's like a UFO. The first time I saw that car, it was otherworldly. And it seemed to be that the public reaction to that was very much the same. So this was the famous race, the three presenters, May and Hammond in the airplane, Clarkson in the Bugatti, bringing the truffle back from Turin. They arrived in London. Clarkson had won. Basically, I had to go from London back through to Italy to get the shots because he'd done the real race, done his onboard camera stuff, and they got some footage of him driving, but nowhere near enough for Andy Woolman's exacting standards to produce a really good film. So we wanted to get all the high-speed footage. First time I saw it was in the car park underground in central London. It was like nothing else. So hunkered down, low, wide. The design is completely off the charts. It's just got that bulbous sort of front end. There's something sort of brutish about the design from back then. Everything's kind of chunky and big. And the engine's just vast, and it's just gargantuan proportions. It's like 4 engines in one. It's so big. And thirsty, as it turned out. I did get really tuned into some stats of the Veyron. My favourite is it can only run at 250 miles an hour. The tyres were rated, it could do it for 15 minutes sustained. You ran out of fuel in 12 minutes. So this was never tested, but it was known that the tyres were put under so much duress. Because the downforce, when it's punching through the air, I've experienced with lots of different cars, particularly like the McLaren F1. We did a drag race in Abu Dhabi with McLaren versus Bugatti. And it was pretty amazing. We had this long, straight stretch of road. It was extremely hot. The Bugatti didn't like that. Hammond was driving it at that time, and I was in the McLaren, the naturally aspirated V12. And actually, initially, also with a little bit of clutch work, I launched it and beat the Bugatti to about 120. But after that, the McLaren became more like an aerofoil and didn't have any downforce, so it's slippery as hell. So really quick in a straight line. But at around 140, 150, you absolutely could feel it walking around. It went into lift. The Bugatti is the opposite. So as you start to go faster, it's so sophisticated the way they've got the ride that it just hunkers down. You feel it just zoning in until it feels like a train. Totally locks in. The downforce is trimming that wing, is adapting, putting you in the right sort of place. You have the special key to make it go extremely fast. It's incredibly reassuring. These massive tyres, and it just feels like a jet plane at ground level. What we were sanctioned to do, because we had police with us and everything like this, I'm not sure that you would get away with in the modern day. I don't know if I get put in jail if I even explain what we were doing. But it began in London. Nigel Simpkiss was shooting that. He was the director. He made a lot of the beautiful films for Top Gear. I said, what do you want to get? He said, just go and get some stuff. Just go out and get some stuff. Go out with the boys. Just get a load of cool London stuff. So we found this big roundabout. We were driving around just getting some establishing shots of it. And the police turned up and I had to stop. Simpkiss was there and came over and he said, yeah, they've spoken to the police and they just said, make sure he gives it some. So that was brilliant. So we did the first couple of launches around the roundabout, found out that it actually cornered extremely fast as well as looked fast. But the police kind of on board all the time. And wherever we went, you would get an immediate crowd. So we went across into France, and you'd be stopping in the middle of nowhere in France. And France is huge amounts of space. They've got big open roads. Wherever we went, if it was unpopulated, you would still, within 5 minutes of stopping, you'd have a crowd of 20 people around it looking at the UFO because there's nothing else like it. But we also had this police cavalcade, plus the engineers had come from Germany, so they were in an Audi that was somehow managed to keep up most of the time. But on the freeway, because we were authorised to, we were going full speed, at times, which is really fast, and everything else it's like driving through a car park, because you have so much speed and so much power, and also so much braking force. That rear wing would pop up, work like an air brake. So it develops 0.6 of a G of deceleration force, which you absolutely need. It's short for parachute. It's a really great way to stop. And you really were able to rattle along. So I think we went through parts of Germany. The speed differentials obviously are vast, over 100 miles an hour to other traffic. It wasn't dense traffic, which otherwise we wouldn't have done it. And you've got enough speed and enough braking power that you can just adjust what you're doing. And it's I remember watching those Batman movies where they speed the footage up and Batman sort of goes past the traffic. It's basically like that. So it's pretty wonderful. But we did stop a lot for fuel, which was also cool because then we turned the little key and then, you could do a little launch display on the way out. So the first time we'd seen 0 to 60, it's sort of less than 2.5 seconds, I think it was. Full all-wheel drive, these huge bag tyres just like delivering mind-bending speed. And it is mind-bending. Your brain sort of moves in your head. Sort of got used to it and then actually more recently got into a Chiron Super Sport when I was filming for Drive Tribe. And then your brain gets completely crushed and you're sort of like this, gritting your teeth like a NASA astronaut. So that was pretty remarkable. So getting used to that car, it was just amazing. So it was kind of like a road trip though. We had a lot of the young crew with us. Ronan French, who'd been with Top Gear since the early days, was my passenger for a lot of that. For whatever reason, we decided we had to have a 4-kilogram tub of Nutella, which we took everywhere. Clarkson had the truffle, we had the Nutella. So that was that and other snacks. We were just like, it's a road trip and we were just two kids doing this stuff. So it was pretty amazing to be in your 20s in this £1 million car, $1 million car, rattling around Europe for work and getting some pretty gnarly footage. I think it was probably the best road trip drive film that I got to do for Top Gear. I thought this would be the last time I'd see it. I kind of like finished that shoot, parked up, slightly nostalgic immediately, and we had dinner with the German engineers, and we had a great time with them. And they'd been surprised because I didn't just go out and just start driving it like I'd stolen it. They were saying, "What?" We sort of after day one, they said, "We are surprised you are not using the full potential of the car." I said, "Well, don't need to yet because we're just trying to get the camera position. But when we get to the next bit of the country, we'll be going full send." They were approving of this. They could see that there was a disciplined approach, and we got on with them really, really well. So it was nice to have that meal at the end and kind of like really get to chat with them about the engineering, how long it had taken them to overcome these problems. They had, because they'd been set this task, the 250 mile an hour car, but they didn't think it was possible until they got into the project. And so I think that it was one of those halo projects that they'd been set from the top, and there was obviously a deep passion there that then went all the way through the company. And they were incredibly proud that they'd achieved this engineering excellence, and it was like the Concorde of cars. It was like a moonshot. So that was pretty awesome. So I thought that was the last time I'd see it. But then we got to do the speed run. So the speed run came back. So James May was going to go and do 250 miles an hour at Ehra-Lessien. That place is like nothing else. It feels like a World War II era facility. High fences, barbed wire. It's massive scale. It's I can't remember how many miles long that is. 8 miles. There's a 4 mile straight. I think that's right. It's 3 or 4 miles long. That's great. But in the middle of this place is a sea of tarmac. And it's so vast, you can't imagine what they could possibly use it for. It's the biggest spread of tarmac I've ever seen anywhere in the world. And I've been to some places and air bases and stuff like that, but I've never seen anything like Ehra-Lessien. The perfect place to do the high speed run because you've got this banked oval section. It was money no object when they built it, so you can run. They'd said a maximum speed 120 miles an hour through that bit. Being me, I had to just exceed that by a percentage or 2 or 10. But then you rattled onto the straight and you had ages. And with the Bugatti, you were up to top speed quite quickly. And I hate to say this, it was slightly boring because it's dead straight because it's perfect. There's no undulations. The track is just, absolutely perfect. And you get up to 250 miles an hour quite soon. And then you just sit there tapped out. So I thought, well, I'll get the good shots. So I was doubling for James just to get some extra footage for him. And ironically, although I was trying to give it, Billy Big stuff through this corner to make it look good for camera, and I thought I would get the edge on him on the straight as a result, I tapped out, I think it's something like 250.4 miles an hour. And James went out slightly later, I would say maybe under cooler conditions with some cloud cover, better atmospherics for the engine, and beat me by sort of 0.2 miles an hour, which he instantly was dining out on, telling everybody that he beat the Stig and all that. But it was really cool, and they have a logbook there. Anybody that does 250 in the Bugatti at that place, you get to sign your name in the book, and it was a pretty short list. But obviously, others had trod that path before in the engineering side of the boys had been doing that. James was very pleased with himself, and rightly so. Then we needed more shots, but it rained, and there's a back section we were using that's a little bit tighter. I realised then that the big tyres, whilst great in the dry, they really work against you when it rains, and the aquaplane, the tyre just getting lifted off the circuit at quite a low speed, surprisingly low speed. It looked really cool, so the camera guys were really excited, massive rooster tails, but at about 70 and 80, this thing wanted to swap ends. And I had to get on the radio because we were really sliding. There's walls on both sides, and came in, and the Bugatti engineers just said, Thank you. We've lost 2 in that section in the rain before, so we were glad you came in. So it was pretty awesome. And like I say, the engineering team, there's so much camaraderie. I think that they are pioneering a lot of really cool stuff. And now with Rimac, the sky's the limit. So who knows what they'll come up with next. So again, I thought that was the last time I'd see the Bugatti, but there was one more in the bag, which is the Eurofighter shoot. So Top Gear, we just loved the Bugatti. We couldn't get enough of it. The directors wanted to get their hands on it again. So this is where Hammond was going to race the Eurofighter. So actually, Richard did all the driving for that, which was great. So all I did was some of the planning stages to basically meet out where he would do his runs, and I did a little practice run to sort of mark out and make sure also he could see where he was going, because the airstrip was extremely long. And the thing is with airstrips is they're very flat, which is great for landing aircraft, but it's difficult for at ground level to see when you're doing up to 200 miles an hour. So that was pretty cool. I just thought visually that was epic. The Eurofighter was a relatively new thing. It was like Britain's F-16, so they had that as a great toy. And the Eurofighter was kind of like the perfect tool to showcase the performance, the outrageous performance. They were just trying to, get across how much power, 1,000 horsepower, which was just uncharted territory back then. Now everybody's got 1,000 horsepower. You can tweak your Lamborghini and you can have 2,000 horsepower, which doesn't make any sense to me that it's possible, but apparently it is. For the Bugatti though, it was really doing it, and it's actually didn't realise back then, but presumably the engineers knew that it had more to give, and we found that out later in the subsequent models. But yeah, that was cool. I liked seeing that head-to-head with an aircraft was mega. Actually, we had the same car for all those different shoots, but I haven't verified this. But I believe also it ended up in America as a press car that was used by Tom Cruise for some other things here. So actually, it became a little bit of an old friend. As to where it is now, I have no idea, but it'll be there somewhere, lurking.
Over the last 4 years, we've partnered with Glossit to show off some of their amazing detailing products, give you some great deals, and show how much they can transform any car. But did you know that Glossit University is also one of the most amazing online resources for education, mentorship, and coaching for whatever your business is in the detailing space? Whether you do paint correction, ceramic coating, PPF, wraps, anything like that, they can take your business to the next level. And right now, they're offering free 15-minute phone consultations where you can schedule at the link in the description below. Tell them about your goals, tell them about your business, about yourself, and really where you want to get to, and they'll show you if they're online courses, they're in-person classes where I'll actually be in their August class, or they're one-on-one or group mentorship programs with Rich Light from Glossit. It's an awesome way to take your business to that next level. So set up your phone consultation now, talk to them about where you're at today, and they'll tell you where you could be tomorrow.